Thanks for joining me for this practice all about Virabhadra or Virabhadrasana and the postures that you might know as them. Hopefully you've watched the other video explaining a little bit about that myth, that story, and that feeling that these shapes can create. We're going to start in child's pose for this practice. I recommend having 2 blocks. They're going to come in super handy at different times. But find a version of child's pose that is pretty comfortable for the knees, the ankles. So if that is sitting on a block, then do that. If it's forearms crossed over the mat, do that. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath. I'm going to take this first moment to land ready for the practice. To ground, because these shapes are connected to the earth, so are we. To find your breath, because it is an essential part of your yoga practice, of living. And to find your heart in this notion of ahimsa, or non-harm. It asks us to remember our heart, the true calling, the true nature of the heart. And that doesn't mean that we're always going to get things right. But the more that we discern between the ego, the mind, and the heart, the easier it becomes to be able to make choices that enable us to live fully and wholly in the world, but also to do so from a place of loving awareness and kindness and compassion. Because beyond everything, all of the happenings in our world, in the world, we have an opportunity to remember kindness, softness, compassion for all, and to remember that love is far greater than everything, as long as we choose to see it that way. Take one last moment, one last breath here, feeling that love, the heart space literally expanding with the breath. Then you'll reach your arms forward, press your fingertips into the earth, reach them even further forward again so that the forearms start to maybe lift off the mat. Feel that stretch through the arms, the armpits. As you exhale, maybe the armpits and the arms soften down a little. Then your next breath in with that sense of reaching, you start to slowly roll up, adjusting knees to be a little closer to hip distance apart. Draw your body forward, find a plank pose. As you exhale, round and roll all the way back to child's pose. And you'll keep flowing like this. The inhale, rounding through the spine until eventually the heart draws forward. Exhale, rounding chin to chest, drawing back. 3 more breaths like that. Inhaling, starting to warm up through the spine, starting to create a little bit of activation in the abdominals. Exhaling back. Slow breath in. Slowing down the movement, articulating each of the vertebrae as they shift into position, and exhaling round and back. This next time that you draw forward, inhale, hold in your plank. As you exhale, lower down to the earth through chaturanga, elbows bend, heart will touch down. On your inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift the heart, press it forward, let it lead you. Exhale, come back down again. Inhale, rolling back, open heart. Exhale, back down. And last time, Breathing in, rolling, lifting, opening the heart. Exhale, lowering down with a press into the knees and the hands. Lift to a plank pose, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. This first downward facing dog, feel free to rock the hips a little, bend the knees a little more fully, turn the tailbone upwards. Maybe there's some gripping through the neck and you want to nod your head a little bit. Can you find your breath? Feel the stability of your feet, your hands. Sway and rock. Moving a little more from intuition, from heart than from head. Yeah, we often pedal the legs out, but is that the tightest spot, or is it actually the outer edges of the hips? Is it the shoulders that need a little bit of moving, a little bit of rolling? In what ways could you feel into this shape a little differently based on what you need? Take one last breath here. On your next inhale, take the right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. As you exhale, bend the knee, open to the side of the room. Inhale, straighten the leg out. As you exhale, tiger curl, knee to nose, and then softly place the foot between the hands. Inhale, crescent lunge, high lunge, reach into the sky. Exhale, hands back down to the mat, step to plank pose as you breathe in. Exhale, chaturanga. Remember, you can use your knees. Inhale, upward facing dog, or stick with your low cobra if you prefer. Downward facing dog. Exhale, hips rise, heels press down. Take a slow breath. Inhale your left leg to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee, open to the side of the room. Inhale, straighten your leg out. Exhale, tiger curl, knee towards nose, and then softly place the foot between the hands. Inhale, crescent lunge, eyes lift, arms reach, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands to the earth, plank pose, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog as you exhale, hips rise, heels press, take a slow breath in and out. Let's do that again. Inhale, right leg rises. Bend the knee, exhale. Let's add a little here, open the hip to the side. Inhale, square the hips a little. Exhale, take the right knee wide, bring it around towards your right upper arm, and then under the body as you circle it back up to the sky. Two more of those. Exhaling. Inhaling. Last one. Straighten the leg out. Exhale, tiger curl, knee to nose. And then place the foot between the hands. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the earth, plank pose. Inhale, chaturanga. At any point in time, you can skip these flows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath in and out. Inhale, left leg rises to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee, open to the side. On your inhale, squaring the hips a little, we take an exhale to bring that left knee wide around to the left elbow, and then inhale it back up to the sky. Two more. Exhale. And breathing in. Last one. Exhale, tiger curl. Place the foot between the hands, crescent lunge. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the earth, chaturanga. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Take a slow breath in and out. On your inhale, Lift your heels away from the earth. A little bend in the knees as you exhale. Take a jump or a step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can walk all the way to the thighs here. As you exhale, fold down, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Uttanasana, knees can bend, belly on thighs. One more. As you breathe in, rising to the sky, soft knees, lift the spine, lift the arms, maybe you look to your hands. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a moment, hands by side, Tadasana, eyes closed. Feel the steadiness of your feet. Feel the energy that is rising up. Feel the openness of your heart. Find that energy of deep, expansive, everlasting love and compassion. Take a slow breath in and out. Blinking, open your eyes. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, dive down, knees bend, fold your belly onto your thighs. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, step the right foot to the back of the mat. Grab your 2 blocks. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms reaching to the sky. Now we're going to try to lift that back thigh and heel a little higher. And at the same time, maybe the front knee gets a little lower, a little further forward. Really try to reach those blocks to the sky. Now I apologize if the only blocks you have are heavy books or cork blocks, because they get quite heavy here. Take a slow breath in. As you exhale, we're going to twist. So the right hand will reach forward, your left arm will reach back. Inhale, come back into center, reach the arms to the sky. 2 more. Exhale. Breathing in. Exhale, opening. Inhale, back to the sky. As you exhale, find arrowhead. Arms reach forward, down. Full permission to leave the blocks behind here. Otherwise, reach them up behind you. Find the strength of your arms. Now, of course, warrior pose is about a warrior. The story of Virabhadrasana. Now, Virabhadrasana was sent by Shiva in a fit of rage, and of course required strength to do what he did. Can you find that strength in the arms here? But keep your heart open, remembering that the story itself is one of love. Enduring love, mistakes made. Take 1 more breath in. Exhale, bring the blocks in your hands down to the mat in front of your left foot, your front foot. And we're going to lift the back leg up behind you. Find a warrior 3 supported. Exhale, bend both knees. Tap right knee to the outside of your left calf muscle. Inhale, straighten the legs back out, warrior 3. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Last time. Breathe in, reach that right leg back out, warrior 3. Exhale slowly, right toes to the earth, hands to the mat, blocks to the side. Inhale, plank pose, a flow through chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Those 3 breaths to tend to the body, to pause in the heart, to remember that strength does not have to equal force. Take 1 last breath. On your inhale, right leg will rise to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee, open to the side of the room. Inhale, straighten your leg out. Exhale, tiger curl, knee to nose. Place that foot between the hands. Turn the left toes to the side of the mat. Grab your 2 blocks. Inhale, arms rise. This time we're in a warrior 1. So the back foot is flat, but the toes can turn a little further forward, and that might help you to get the torso a little more towards the top of the mat. Now, warrior one doesn't always feel great for everyone. You're welcome to make this into crescent lunge if that feels a little better for your body. But instead of just dropping down, let's see what happens if the legs were in position, but we were to zip and rise up. So you see the story goes that Virabhadra landed in the party, was sent to the party because Sati had reduced herself to ashes in absolute despair as her father would not accept the love, the enduring love that her and Shiva always had for each other. So as she sent herself to ashes with that despair, and Shiva found out that his beloved was gone because of her father, he sent Virabhadra, the warrior, to do the deed that needed to be done to teach her father a lesson. Now, Shiva was a destroyer, the god of death and transformation. So in his actions, in what he did, they learnt that violence is not the answer necessarily. Love is more potent, more powerful, as we see in Sati reducing herself to ashes. Take one more inhale here. Your arms should really be starting to burn. As you exhale, we're going to open to warrior two. So Virabhadra landed, and then he opened his arms and he cut off the head of the king, Sati's dad. In doing so, it caused a great uproar. This retaliation for the death of his beloved was not received well, and Shiva realized when Sati reincarnated herself that he perhaps had made the wrong call in sending the warrior to do this deed. So what did he learn from that? He learned that violence in this form doesn't necessarily bring back the love that he has, and that sometimes the ego will speak louder than the heart. So in this, as the arms start to really burn, can your heart, your breath, be louder than the head? Can it be louder? Take one more breath in here. One more exhale. On your inhale, let's slowly sweep that back hand down and forward. Spin onto your left toes. Find warrior three, arms outstretched if you can, left leg lifted up, belly pulling to spine. Breathe, 3 breaths. Warrior three depicts the moment when Virabhadra picks up the king's head and holds it out for everyone to see. You can imagine how that might have made people feel. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, hands to the earth, step the back foot forward. Take a moment in ragdoll pose. Let the sensations rise. Let them fall. Feel your heart beating, strength and softness. Take one more breath here. And out. On your inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding Uttanasana. Knees can bend, belly on thighs. 2 more of those. Breathing in. And out. Last one. And out. Inhale, we rise. Lift to the sky. Arms reaching, legs strong. Exhale, hands past heart. By your side. Tadasana. Samastitihi. This landing place. Let it sink in. These sensations. This body, this heart of yours. On your next inhale, open the eyes, arms reach to the sky. As you exhale, folding down to the earth. On your inhale, your halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, grab those 2 blocks. We're going to step the left foot back, crescent lunge. Inhale, arms rise. Now again, the blocks at this point are going to start to feel pretty heavy. Can you lift the back thigh bone higher? Can you get really strong? Maybe a little bit of a zipping up action through the belly, maybe a little bit deeper through the front leg. Front knee heading in the same direction as the toes. Take one more inhale here. Then we're going to open, twisting, left arm forward, right arm back. Inhale, back up to the sky. 2 more. Exhaling open. Inhale, back to the sky. Last one. Inhale, reaching all the way to the sky. Exhale, we come to arrowhead. Heart leans forward, stays open, front knee is bent, arms reach back behind you. Find those triceps, get really strong here. Really strong. Belly pulls to spine. Feel the strength of that warrior, but also let your heart be present here too. Your heart that might allow you or support you to discern any actions or inactions that are right for your heart, your life, the world. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, bring the blocks down to the mat. Inhale, a supported warrior 3. So the blocks are a little bit in front of that front foot so that your heart can be a little open. You can bring your hands to your heart here. As you exhale, both knees bend. Left knee taps to the outside of right calf muscle. Inhale, lift and lengthen. 2 more. Exhale, bending, lowering. Inhale, extending. Last time. Inhale, extending out. Exhale slowly. Left toes land at the back of the mat. Blocks to the side, hands to the earth. Inhale, plank pose, chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. I don't know why, but chaturanga feels positively easy compared to the blocks. Exhale, hips rise, heels press down. That moment, that pause, where the heart can speak louder than the head. We remember our strength and our softness, our love. Take one last breath here. As you inhale, your left leg will rise to the sky. Bend the knee, exhale, open to the side of the room. Inhale, straighten the leg out. Tiger curl, knee to nose. Exhale, place the foot between the hands. Turn those right toes towards the side of the mat, and they might even turn a little further forward. Warrior 1, remember you can take a crescent lunge instead of having the heel down in this shape. Now we want to be feeling that the legs are both strong. I tend to find that the more I actually try to activate the glute, the more lift and strength I get, taking weight out of the back knee in particular. Listen to your body, arms reach high. Press those blocks up like you are holding that sword overhead, and that responsibility of the action with which you've been tasked to take. Now this action, yes, has come out of anger, despair. And those are sensations, those are things that we're absolutely going to experience in life. And so I love this story because it gives us the opportunity to see that we don't always get it right. Everything's not always going to be rosy. And that's totally okay. And I don't have all the answers for you. And I don't want to bypass what you might be feeling. But I also want to remind you that beneath it all, there is some heart. So if we can find strength from our heart more than our arms or our swords or our fighting words, then maybe, just maybe, we're going to make a difference in whatever it is we face. Take one more breath in. So you exhale, open to warrior 2. Same thing here, the hips are opening a little wider to the side of the mat here. This might feel a little nicer for that back knee if you weren't in crescent lunge. Squeeze the glutes in and under, press the blocks forward and backward. Get really strong. Virabhadrasana 2. The head of the king is cut off. Sati, she arrives, despaired at what has just taken place from her love and also the behaviors of her father. And she reminds Shiva that her love would have prevailed over lifetimes. In fact, it does. They come back together lifetime and lifetime and lifetime again. They are always together. No matter the circumstances, love always wins, it triumphs. Take one more breath in here. As you exhale, we start to reach that back block forward, spin onto your back toes. Warrior 3, can you keep your upper arms at your ears? Breathe. holding the head of the king out. The story is not so gruesome as it ends. The king is given a different head, a goat's head. And order is restored, love is restored. The king remembers their love, and that actually their love is valid and real and worthy of being known and acknowledged. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hands to the earth, back footsteps to the front of the mat. Ragdoll pose, fold. Take a slow breath in. A slow exhale. And then as you inhale, find a halfway lift. On your exhale, hands to the earth. We flow, plank, chaturanga, or skip it if you wish. Inhale, upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips rise, heels press down. Inhale, right leg reaches to the sky. Exhale, right knee to right upper arm. Turn the shin across the mat, slide the right knee down the right forearm until it lands. Find your pigeon pose. Inhale, spread your heart wide. Hands can help you to lift as you exhale. Fold into your pigeon pose. You can add a block under the right hip, which might give you a little extra support here. Feel that deep stretch in the outer right hip. That release and open. Feel the heart melting. That story sinking in. Take one last breath. And then an inhale to lift your heart up off your thigh. Sit over onto the right hip. So if you're using a block, move it to the side. We're going to pick up the left leg, place the left foot to the outside of the right knee, twisting left hand behind the spine to anchor and uplift the heart. Right hand rises. Inhale, exhale, grab hold of that left knee or bring your arm to the outside of the leg for Matsyendrasana, Lord of the Fishes pose. And then your chest is going to turn towards the side of the room or your mat. You can spin your head towards to look over your left shoulder, but you don't have to. You can stay looking to the side, which might feel a little nicer for the neck. That top hand can lift up. If you like to add a mudra, bringing the thumb and the index finger together, go for it. But otherwise, just breathe. Let the heart be open. One more inhale, sit a little taller, and as you exhale, unwind, looking forward, maybe without the use of your hands. Shift onto the right shin, the left foot, lift the right leg up behind you, and as you exhale, bring the right foot down, plank pose. Another option for a flow here through chaturanga, upward dog, or simply meeting in downward facing dog. Let that right leg stretch out, deep breath in. And out. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Bend the knee, exhale, open to the side. Inhale, straighten the leg out, exhale, left knee to left elbow. Spin the shin across the mat. Can you let the knee lead the way down the forearm and then land the leg? The back leg, right leg can slide out. Again, feel free to add a block under the hip. Inhale, heart extends, broadens, opens. Exhale, folds. We're aiming for that deep stretch in the outer left hip. If you feel pressure in the knee, that's where I encourage you to add a block or a blanket underneath. Could even be that you slightly shift the direction of the hips or the pelvis to rock one way or another. Slow breath. let it expand your heart. Take one last breath here. And on your next inhale, slowly lift your torso, your heart off the thigh. Sit over onto that left leg. Bring the right foot around to the outside of the left knee. This time anchoring the right hand behind the spine. Inhale, left arm reaches. Exhale, either grab hold of the top leg or you can bring your arm to the outside of the knee. And then we twist. We open across the heart. So many of these shapes are either opening the back of the heart space, the sides of the heart, or the front, reminding us of where it's really at. Head below heart, heart overhead. Take 2 more breaths here. Another inhale to just lift that little bit taller. Exhale, turning back forward with or without the hands. We shift weight into the front shin and foot. Can you lift the left leg up? Exhale, toes to the earth. Right foot steps back and let's slowly lower to the belly. Bring the hands out wide. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, rolling down. 2, breathing in and out. Last time. Exhale, heart lands. We're going to flip over onto our back from here, which should mean that your blocks are still handy for you. Taking a supported shoulder bridge, lift your hips, place them onto your block. It can be on its lowest edge, middle edge, or its highest edge. Keep the feet on the earth for this, and let any of the tension that might have been drawn into your muscles, that strength from those standing postures, let it melt. Let the legs be free, let the heart be open. Slow down the breath. And maybe this is the time where you consider those battles that you might be facing at this time in life. And I had this friend remind me a couple of months ago, because I was feeling in such a rage and just really wanting to use my words or my actions to do something. And he said to me, and I at the time I had this feeling that really there was actually nothing to be said. And he said to me, you've got to remember that those words, those actions aren't your highest self, the highest version of yourself. And often the highest version of yourself is actually coming from the heart, not the head. So while the mind may think of what it wants or what it needs you to be saying, adding the discernment of the heart to that is important. We can't get lost in our head. We can't take no action necessarily, but also sometimes maybe we do need to. Maybe inaction speaks louder than words, right? But whatever it might be, what's the heart say? Where is your heart at? How is the heart going to feel? Take one more breath here. With a gentle press into your feet, lift your hips off the block, slowly roll yourself down to the earth. Bring the feet together, knees staying bent, drop the knees to the side, taking Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined, bound angle pose. I like to add my blocks here under my thighs for a little bit of support. Reach your arms out wide. Again, slow the breath. Connect breath and heart together. And in this slowness, you start to realize just how expansive, how calming, how clear the heart can be. And often in the heart is where our path resides, much more so than the head. Sometimes we think we need to be doing something, saying something, because the head tells us to. But what's your heart saying? Where is it leading you? Each one of us will have a different answer. Take one last breath here. Let your feet come back together. Onto the earth, knees to the sky. Grab one block. I'm going to finish with a supported heart opener, so you can place that block either lengthways between the shoulder blades or horizontally a little lower than that. Let the heart open, your head dropping back. Take 3 last breaths here. Either rocking to one side, pressing into your arms. Take your block from under your body, stretch yourself out into your place of rest, where we land, where we integrating the stories, the myths, the energy behind them, integrating our own heart into our cells, integrating the movement and the sensations that arise. Allow yourself to land in that all-pervading love, the love that we can come back to at any time, to help us as we make decisions and shift through life, to help us to be in love with the world, with those around us. Our heart, which is our essence, the essence of humanity, humanness. Let it weave through yourselves. Let it soften you completely. And then you can choose to stay here for a little longer. In fact, I encourage you to do so, but if you only have time that was allocated for this video, you'll begin to breathe into the heart. Expanding the heart's essence back out into your limbs. And then wriggling your body, fingers, toes. You'll make your way to a seated position to close this time that you have allocated to yourself, on your mat, to your heart. And we bow, knowing that these stories, they might be real, they might be myths, maybe they play out in our day-to-day life, but they remind us of both our humanness, our hearts, and that sometimes we need to move from the heart far more than the head as we navigate this world, this life. May you always be at peace. May you always be happy. And may you always have love in your